Hello and welcome to another episode of Born to Ride with me, Neil Mackenzie. Today we're in the beautiful historic town of York at the former World War II RAF base Elvington. Now, as nice as they look, we're not here to talk about planes, because with miles of unused tarmac going to waste, what better way to spend the day than doing this? Elvington Park is hosting the Auto 66 Club penultimate round of the Scooter Racing Championship. Amongst the riders today we have John Uffendell. John is 33 and from Essex. He's been racing scooters for a year and rides a Vespa Piaggio Zip. With him today are his wife Paula, his teammate Stuart Day and his team owner Paul Baker. John is racing today in the Solo Scooter Championship. He rides in Group 10, which is for automatics up to 70cc.
Scooter racing started officially, I suppose, 68, 69, but we called it High Speed Regularity Trial. And what we did, we set in possibly fast times, so everybody was actually racing.
In the 60s, scooter racing was big because obviously scooters were big, weren't they? Mods and rockers and all that, but scooter racing was big. Sort of died, like motorbikes died really in the 70s. Less people bought motorbikes now, it's just coming back, isn't it?
It surprises a lot of people. They don't realise how fast the scooters are. You know, I go to work and some of the guys at work have got bikes and things like that, and they say, oh, you know, little shopping trolley things, you you'll have your shopping basket on the back, No, it's really surprising when they realise how fast they go. They can keep up with the bikes.
To actually ride the thing, you just got to leave your brain in the toolbox and just get on with it.
It's a fairly amateur-based sport, and there's not a lot of, you don't see a great deal of motorhomes around and such like. So it suits our level to a certain extent.
I ride in Group 10, which is automatic scooters, which is what this one here is.
John's is a Piaggio Zip, based on a 50cc model you can go and buy and go down the shops on, with mostly kit parts supplied from Italy, because there's a big racing scene in Italy.
John is hoping for a 4th place finish today, as he did recently in North Wales. But what do his fellow scooter enthusiasts think of him?
It's very smooth, John. You can follow him and you can follow his lines because he's a very smooth rider.
He's done really well. Yeah, he's good. As I said to him before, it's going to take a few years to get into it because it's totally different to being on the road. Just take it one race at a time and learn the circuits, because you can't expect to learn all the circuits in a year and be on the pace. You're just got to take your time and learn the scooter, learn how it handles, braking, all that stuff, and it will come there in the end.
John at the moment is still learning how to ride and get the best out of the bike, really. He's at the moment still a little wild and erratic, and hasn't really got a feel for what the what the bike's doing and what needs changing on the bike to make it better.
John is fine. Just watching the races, he doesn't stick out. So I would just say he's just an average rider. He's in the pack there, not doing anything silly, nothing fantastic. But he is a relatively new guy. Some guys are instantly superstars, but the vast majority work at it.
He's quick, and he's shown on a couple of occasions this season already that he can ride with the faster riders out there. It's just a matter of being more consistent now.
Back to the event, and as all true scooter racers do, camping the night before is a must. With the bike cleaned and scrutineered and a quick change into racing leathers, John is ready to go.
Just getting prepared, all my levers on and check my helmet, ready for practice. I think we get 5 laps. Practice 5 laps. So not very long really. My itinerary on race day would be start your get up basically. Practice is usually about 10 AM. Then your first race could be as early as 11. But usually scooters are usually first race be about midday, and then you have your other 2 races after dinner.
A race bike, if we look at the Zip for example, compared to a road bike, obviously lights are removed, the suspension is generally upgraded, and the engine in particular is much modified, using performance parts off the shelf, in particular with the Zip. The Lambretta is a much more involved prospect. A lot of parts have to be made rather than bought off the shelf, which makes life a lot more difficult.
Practice has just gone really, really well. The bike's going absolutely brilliant. So I'm really hoping for a good result in the race.
On race day, the first job is to go through the bike, make sure again that everything is tight, nuts are tight, everything is as it should be. Final check of tyre pressures, fuel the bike up, and then the bike is scrutineered and make sure the riders are ready. That's it really.
One of the problems with scooter racing is that the rules and points system are quite confusing. Even though the bikes are separated into different classes, they all race at the same time. The points are worked out after all the scooters are in and then broken up into the relevant classes. Confused? You're not the only ones.
Well, I ain't that clued up with it myself. I mean, it amazes me the way they do the scoring. But I mean, we've got so many different classes in one. So I mean, it looks, you know, when we're all out there, it's like everyone's opened up on the field.
It's all Dutch to me. I don't fully understand the point system. It is a very, very strange setup.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Stuart, I think, knows how it works. He'll probably be able to tell you, but I have no idea. Haven't got a clue. There's something about when you get to the end of the year as well, and if you've got too many points, they take some points away from you or something, but it's a bit complicated. So yeah, Stuart probably explain to you a bit more about that. It's too complicated. I think it's only you organised know how it works. Everyone just goes along with it.
Luckily, we found someone who could explain it just that little bit clearer.
Every class winner will get 30 points. Then it goes 27 for second, 25 for third, 24 for fourth, and down 1 point like that. You then, on top of that, just to slightly complicate it, you have bonus points up to a maximum of 5 in your class that you have beaten. This is because of we have this peculiar anomaly where we still try to get an overall British champion, despite that we have several classes running together. And this is proved over the years. That is how we just sort that out, so that we get a fair overall champion at the end of the year. But it does make it complicated to the casual observer.
Hopefully we've whet your appetite for a bit of scooter racing, so hold on to your handlebars because after the break we'll see how John's getting on in the racing.
The flywheel's started to split. We've got 2 big cracks running right through the flywheel there, one there and one there. And if we leave, I think there's one up there as well. If we left it on there, it'd just fly to bits.
We'll give you some advice on how to get into the sport.
It's a very competitive motorsport to get into for not a lot of money.
And some of this. Welcome back to Born to Ride with me, Neil Mackenzie. This week we're taking a look at a pretty unheard of sport, scooter racing. We're keeping a close eye on John Offendale, who is in his 2nd year of scooter racing.
My season this year so far has been quite disastrous. I've had 2 or 3 crashes. I missed a meeting through a holiday. So at the moment I'm bottom of the championship because I haven't scored enough points. But that's been one of them years. I've had a bad year, but I've had some good results as well. So hopefully next year I'll be a lot better.
John is lucky enough to be sponsored and part of a team run by Paul Baker.
I get the enjoyment of seeing the bike going well in particular, and also the riders improving. Hopefully, occasionally, I'm more often than not winning.
The track the riders are racing on today is a former World War II air base. It now accommodates a National Air Museum, but also miles of unused track perfect for racing on.
Compared to other circuits, this circuit is a very fast circuit. It could do a few more facilities, but Other than that, it's a very good circuit. It's a little bit the track's a little bit bumpy in places, but other than that, I think it's a very good circuit.
It's certainly quite a nice circuit. It's a bit bumpy in places, which is causing a bit of difficulty. But, and it's a bit, as a circuit, it's a rather bland. It's rather too many straights, not enough corners. But I think both riders are enjoying it so far. So.
It'd be a good circuit if it wasn't so bumpy, because it would be a very good fast circuit, but it's just too bumpy for the. I mean, for the bikes, they've got obviously updated suspension. I mean, we're riding on something that was designed 40 years ago, and it's very hard to keep on it when it is bumpy like this. But I mean, it's not a bad circuit. It's not one of the best circuits we go to. I mean, last year we were at Donington, we raced at Brands Hatch, Cadwell Park, Mallory Park. In fact, probably the only circuits we don't race on is, I'd say, Silverstone, maybe Alton Park, and all the other major circuits in the country we race on.
I think it's a really good circuit, apart from a few bumpy bits. If it was resurfaced, it'd be excellent. But there's a few dodgy bits, you know, mainly on the corner before the start-finish is a bit bumpy, and it could cause you a problem.
Last time John and Paula came to the track here at Elvington, it wasn't the racing that everyone was talking about.
It's about 8 years ago, I think. We got married on the way to a scoot rally which was held on this site, and we didn't tell anybody. And when my dad arrived at the circuit, we told him then, and we had our honeymoon on this circuit.
Yeah, I don't know, we just thought it was a good idea at the time, so kept it secret from everybody as well. We just decided that's what we were going to do, get married, and didn't tell anybody.
Back in the pits, John's teammate Stuart has had to make a last-minute change to his Lambretta SX230.
What I've just done is change the battery because it's gone flat, and I was just checking it. The battery powers the water pump and the fuel pump. The fuel's in the frame of the Lambretta, and it needs a pump to this thing here, this pump, which brings it up to the carburettor. And our water pump is underneath, pumps it round to the radiator, and without that, it won't work very well.
John will be competing in 3 races today, and with all the bikes in check, it's time for race 1. Six laps later, and John finds that he's in 21st place overall and unfortunately last in his class.
I'm not having very good luck today with anything mechanical, as it would seem.
Closer inspection reveals that the flywheel on the scooter has a problem.
The flywheel's started to split. We've got 2 big cracks running right through the flywheel there, one there and one there. And if we leave, I think there's one up there as well. If we left it on there, it'd just fly to bits. And then that'd just wreck the ignition as well then.
With the new flywheel on, John is ready for his second race, hoping that he improves on his previous position.
Get my lid and my gloves on and go off down to the area down there for the next race. I get really nervous on the grid. The moment the flag goes and you get to the first corner, it's it, you just focus on what you're doing and you just go for it.
John finishes in exactly the same position as his last race, 21st overall and last in his class. Something is obviously not right. What went wrong?
Brilliant start, did the right first lap, and then all of a sudden something's playing up on the bike, lost some RPM, and everybody just kept coming past me on the straights, and I couldn't get back at them. So I didn't do as well as I hoped. So we're now going to have a look at the carburettor. Still got another race to go, so we'll still make it all happen, I hope.
John was not the only rider to have an eventful race. John's wife Paula caught teammate Stuart on camera having a hairy moment.
I braked really hard going around the corner, front end broke away, I was nearly off. Got back up and forced me back behind me in second to go wide, and he did crash. But overall, yeah, got a win, so that's what I went there for.
Stuart and John were not the only ones with problems. Throughout the day it became evident that mechanical hitches were a big part of scooter racing.
The ring peg came loose, which spanned the piston ring round, and obviously it's trapped in the exhaust port and just knocked the top of the piston off and scored everything up. But it's part of the game, I suppose, one way to look at it.
Sees one engine up big style, and then fitted me spare engine, set the carburettor up, but the carburettor was too rich, so I was just having trouble. Every time I went down the straight it was okay. Rolled the throttle off to go around the corner, I went to pick the throttle back up and it was just spluttering. It would not rev out, so I've been quite bad.
Broke down yesterday in practice. I broke down again in the first race. I had to go home last night to get a new crankshaft. Got back this morning and I hadn't got the piston to go with the crankshaft, so I had to go home again, another 60 mile, get a new piston and come back. And I'm down on power because it's a different crankshaft to what I normally use, so I'm not really doing so well at the moment. I'm at the back of the grid as well. So.
Back to the pits, and does John's wife Paula worry when he's out there racing?
No, not at all. I just wanted to beat someone. It's good when he overtakes people, obviously. But when he did crash the first time, that he, the first meeting he crashed out, I was a bit worried to start with, because he did. Well, luckily, I'm glad he did it in front of where I was sitting actually, because if he'd done it around the other half of the track, I wouldn't have known. All of a sudden he's not there, and you start worrying, then worrying about what's happened, So, but luckily it was right in front of where we were sitting. So, yeah, he got up and he was okay. It's the first time I did panic, but. Yeah, no, it's all right. They've got all the body armour there's all, marshal, all the marshals, and there's all medical people about anyway. So, they're in good hands really if anything does happen like that. So, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Scooters are fairly safe. They do go wrong and people do crash, but as far as I'm aware, I don't think anybody's ever been killed. A few broken bones now and then, but nothing ever serious. The marshals are always on hand. You've got good people sorting it out, you've got the first aid here, everything. It is a fairly safe sport.
Safety wise, I mean, I've raced this scooter for quite a while and I have got really, I am confident in the scooter. The brakes are excellent, and there is a possibility you're going to fall off, but that's racing, and that's the same with any racing. If you thought you was going to fall off and hurt yourself, you wouldn't do it.
John heads to the track for the final time. A few tweaks to the bike will hopefully have ironed out any problems that he had in earlier races. John finishes in 22nd position out of 28 starters, last again in his class, but those problems are still there.
Last race was better, but still struggling to try and keep up with the people that I should be beating. So I don't know why I'm not up there where I should be, but Paul's going to have a look at the bike when he gets back to the workshop, and hopefully the next one I'll be back where I should be.
I don't think we can do a great deal better this season. Stuart's leading the championship. Up until today, I think he's failed to be beaten in the championship so far, and we've only got a couple more rounds to go now. John, as like I say, he needs to improve and become more consistent, and I need to improve the bike and help him to achieve that.
Yeah, I'm pleased. Yeah, I could be happier, but I didn't fall off this time, so I'm happy.
I've won my class now. I've won my class. Yeah, it's wrapped up, so I don't need to go to Cadwell, but I'm going to go and give it everything. Still go as if as if it's my first race. Still give it everything because it's enjoyable as well. It's not just about winning. You do enjoy riding it. It is really good fun. I mean, I don't have a lot of competition most of the time. I haven't this year, but I still enjoy riding it.
If scooter racing is something that you want to get into, it isn't as difficult or as expensive as you think.
Well, just go onto the internet, and then when they're on the internet you just look up the BSSA page and it's got all the technical information you need for doing your setting up. So it's easy for anyone to have a go at it.
I would say buy a magazine that caters for scooterists and look out for some of the dealers that, specialise in tuning and racing, and ask for advice from them, and they'll put you in the right direction to pick up. I mean, basically, you've only got to buy a standard road going Lambretta and just get someone who knows what they're doing to tune it and supply decent tyres for you.
There's a number of ways you can do it. You can either come along to a meeting and talk to anybody who's racing. You could contact the committee direct. You could get onto any of the big scooter shops in the country and they can put you on to the people that you need to talk to. And it's a very competitive motorsport to get into for not a lot of money. You can pick up a machine to race an auto, for example. You could pick one up for between £5,000 and £1,000, go out and race it and be competitive on it. Where a Lambretta might cost a little bit more, depending on which class you wanted to go into.
Best thing to do is to, I think, come to a meeting, watch it. I think they'll be sold on the idea when they've seen it and seen how fast the scooters can go. Have a word with some of the people around the paddock. Everybody's friendly, and they would point them in the right direction on who to get bits from or where to get a bike from.
The best place to start is in scooter racing is to contact the BSSO, get a set of the regulations, choose a class you want to ride in, and hopefully get some advice from other competitors. Go to a race meeting, see how they set up, how they work, and give it a try.
Back with John, and all the scooters are packed up with Paul, and it's time to say goodbye.
Well, see you later, mate.
Right on.
Cheers, Paul. See you at Cadwell.
Yeah. Will do.
See you, Paul.
Bye then.
See you later. Try and make it better next time.
Well, it's been eventful.
Paul has to enjoy a 240-mile trip back to Somerset, whilst John, Stuart and Paula have a long journey back to Essex.
The weekend has been really good. Weather's been all right. The circuit's been great. My performance has been average. Could have been better, really. But hopefully, we've had a few problems with the bikes, and hopefully, next meeting, the problems will be gone and we'll be performing better.
That's all from Born to Ride this week. Don't forget to check out the website at menandmotors.co.uk, and make sure you tune in next week for more people that were born to ride.
No cameras, no law, ideal.